We're about to set off. The forecast rain has started. But Brian is now in full plastic armour.
You got your rain skirt on? I got my rain arms on.
Frog tugs or so last year. Trash bags, it's where it's at now. I was just saying to him, he's finally officially hiker trash. There's no other word to describe this.
I just call me Green Smurf. It's not nice.
12.5 miles of rain. And then an uncertain future because we still don't know how the heck to get out of White Pass to Seattle. And we have had a little look at Guttux yesterday and it seems there is no Wi-Fi at White Pass, so chances are we're going to stand at White Pass and still don't know how to get out of there. But hopefully somebody there can help us. Time for one last freezing coffee in the woods. Well, morning coffee in the woods, and then we're off into the dripping world. Started our last climb of the PCT this year. 1700 foot. All in the rain. It's very drizzly rain, but it's relentless. You get just as wet.
It's wet.
The green dwarf is getting wet. His sleeves are doing well, but he's sweating, obviously. In them, I mean, you know, it's trash bags. They have no level of breathability whatsoever. But needs must.
Better than it was. Oh. My arms are sweating, so the rest of my body, but that's walking in the rain. Hello!
He keeps talking as soon as I turn the camera away from him. Not even sure that you can hear what he's saying.
Garbage.
Garbage, yeah. What else?
Like bags.
What else can you expect from a man clad in trash cans, trash bags? Right, camera going anyway. I can't even speak. Camera is going away, was what I was trying to say. Yes, it's still raining. We made it over the top. There would have been fine views, but yeah. We got mist and rain. The mist has cleared up a little bit, the rain hasn't. It got really, really, really cold on the way down as well. I mean, worryingly cold. Rain in Washington is no joke.
It's not like rain, it's like a cloud. It just sinks.
Yeah,
a cloud sinks.
I mean, you can see how little drips there is in the puddles, but it's just wet. Everything's wet. The air is wet. You're walking through a mist at all times.
Yeah, it's like the clouds just drop.
But still, very pretty woods. Just very wet. I just hope we'll get down to White Pass at good time because I am getting very cold now. I could do with warming up.
Come here then, I'll warm you up. You can end it there.
White Pass. This is the end of our PCT adventure. Just need to get to the Cracker Barrel stop now to pick up a parcel. Somewhere down there apparently. So as the saying goes, this escalated quickly. We reached the Cracker Barrel, picked up our resupply box, sat in there feeling sorry for ourselves, trying to get information on where we could go. Decided our best bet would probably be Yakima to the what's the direction? East of White Pass rather than Packwood, where people had told us there was no, you know, public transport and stuff. We're looking at Yakima being nearly 50 miles away and all that, and in walks a hunter saying, "Oh, did you guys want to go to Yakima? I'm driving down there." I mean, it all happened so quick. I don't know how to thank this man. He's driven us all the way down to Yakima. We
He asked us if he wanted to take us anywhere else.
yeah, didn't want anything for his effort because she was heading here anyway. Well, thank you, sir. We literally managed to book a hotel room, a cheap hotel room, what, $62 on the way down, and we're now in Yakima, from where there is buses running to Seattle at some point tomorrow, and we're drying out, and yeah, PCT is over, unfortunately. We have all of this resupply that we had sent for the next 5-day stage. I should probably explain about that 5-day stage as well, because I mean, we've got 8 days left on our visa, so we could have carried on hiking to Snoqualmie, from where there is buses to Seattle anyway. However, we have a parcel in Stehekin containing not food, but things that we actually need, that we've sent ahead there.
Like notepad.
Like the notepad that we've been editing on and everything, and the bags that we had our stuff in when we flew over. Because, you know, back in Cascade Locks we still somehow thought that maths is not a real thing and we could make it. So we need to get to Stehekin in the next 8 days. So the plan is to go to Seattle, rent a car, and go on a little road trip. Get somewhere close to Stehekin, hike in, because it's not like we don't have hiking gear. Pick up our parcel there. Now, there is enough time to have it redirected, but after what happened to the Mama's parcel, we don't want to chance it. If that parcel gets lost in the system, we are really royally upset. So yeah, this is the plan going forward. We shall go on a little road trip. Visit
Come and join us.
Well, you will, whether you want to or not, because I'm not stopping filming just because I'm not hiking anymore. This is it, our last day on the PCT. As you can tell from the state of the map, it rained heavily for most of it. It also got freezing cold. But anyway, we set off at Lutz Lake and dropped down to the pass that, yeah, it did sort of go down, even though it says pass. It does go up a little bit again, but you know, where we had wanted to aim, and I'm actually quite glad we didn't make it there, because the campsite there was very small and didn't look as nice as where we stayed, so you know. And we then climbed quite consistently up a hill that probably shouldn't have been as difficult as it was, because it was cold, it was windy, it was rainy, and when I say cold, I mean it's just because when you're wet, when the gusts of wind get you, you are freezing. It really got unpleasant. At the top it does take a really sharp turn, the PCT. There is a trail that carries on, so for a moment we stood there quite a bit trying to figure out where we needed to go. So it is the one that basically seems to be going back on itself down into the valley. And we started a long climb down, and this was all very exposed. So by the time we got to where the woods start again, we were pretty much frozen through. But it's from then on pretty much downhill, and you know, can I say, it was relatively easy hiking in that respect. The ground was slippy with all the rain from, you know, the days before and on the day, so it wasn't, you couldn't make a huge amount of, couldn't build up a lot of speed, but you know, it was downhill and we were on our way, so not much to say. I mean, I couldn't unfortunately film a lot because it just rained and rained and rained and on and off rain. And yeah, eventually got to White Pass, which is where we sadly end our PCT adventure, because we are now officially out of time, and we will explain later why we're not even carrying on for the remaining, whatever it is, 5-6 days of our visa, which would see us to White Pass. Sorry, this is White Pass. Snoqualmie Pass. Sorry, Snoqualmie Pass. We could make it there, but there's a reason why we can't, so we'll get into that later. You've changed where you're sitting.
Oh.
Yes, you just moved over to the side.
Stress. She's nagging even when we're at home. Yes, Karen, I do put up with a lot.
Hello, everybody. This is our summary for, well, the PCT, really. It's technically week 24 and a half, something like that, because obviously we didn't do a summary at the end of week 24.
The big reveal is going to come soon.
But first, we thought we'd talk about a few more important things. I mean, but
Honey.
yes, there is money, but also first, I'd like to say a very quick word about the rain in Washington. Because, you know, everybody always warns you about the rain in Washington. Washington's going to be rainy, this and the other. Yes, it is. Being from the UK, we thought rain, schmain, you know, happens here all the time. It rains. What's the big deal about the rain in Washington? And I have to say, it is a big deal. I don't know what it is about the rain in Washington, but it is insidious is the best word I can think of. It just is a fine mist rather than big droplets. So at no point do you not get wet. It's I have never...
Even when it's not raining, you're wet.
It's just really, really weird. I mean, we all know that the long history of Brian's rain gear failing. In Washington, the rain got through my rain jacket as well. I don't think it's because it's failing. I think it's because obviously, you know, these are breathable materials because you don't want to actually wrap yourself in rubbish.
Thanks. Worked fine.
Worked fine. But the sweat factor is high. So the more professional rain gear is breathable. And I think that...
That's my gear.
The rain gear, the rain in Washington is so fine that it gets through where the air is supposed to go through. That's my only explanation. It really is quite...
Yeah.
So, you know, be prepared. The rain in Washington really is all they claim it to be. It's a weird one. It's the wettest rain I have ever come across. And as Brian said, even when it's not raining,
Yeah.
oddly enough, it's still kind of raining.
Rain. Yeah. It's just the moisture in the air.
Yeah.
You can walk like a mile and it's not raining. But at the end of that mile, you're soaking wet because of the moisture in the air.
And that, of course, also applies to, you know, the beloved gear of hikers, shorts and nothing else. Just be aware that when you reach Washington, there's vegetation.
Ooh.
I mean, everywhere.
Yeah.
And because it is wet a lot, whether it rains or not, you will get wet. Your legs will get wet because you will be walking, brushing past vegetation, and it is a real issue. I mean, this is not just kind of, don't fancy wet legs. But if you get to Washington and the temperatures are starting to drop, which, you know, I mean, we got here first week in September, which should be okay, but it's probably a little bit on the late side. But we had a very early cold front coming in, and hiking with wet legs when the temperatures are dropping is a recipe for hypothermia. So just
look after yourself. Be
smart and don't just think, oh, if it's not raining or wet legs don't matter. Wet legs do matter. They can become an issue. So just, look after yourself. And on that subject of looking after yourself, the other big thing we would like to talk about is that famous sort of tunnel vision that PCT hikers are accused of getting towards the end. You will see that in all Facebook groups and reports and blogs and vlogs and what. PCT hikers are generally accused of, once they reach Washington, switching off their brain and just going for terminus.
When we got the Cascade locks, we were in denial. We were saying, oh yeah, we're finishing, we'll send parcels to certain...
We bought resupplies for most of Washington. We sent them ahead for most of Washington. I mean, lucky for us, the resupply company was running low on stock. So we ended up only being able to resupply the first 2 stops. And we'd sent a bunch of gear that we didn't need, or thought we didn't need for Washington, but obviously still wanted to pick up for when we left the country. We'd send all that ahead to Steheaton.
Yeah.
By the time we left Cascade Locks, it was mathematically impossible for us to reach the Northern Terminus. But we just would not and could not accept that. We kept making excuses in our head that somehow we who had struggled to reach 20 miles a day until late Northern California would fly through Washington.
With the big hills things.
It just, I mean, I think when we set off from Cascade Locks, we could just about still have made it if we'd pulled off something like 25 to 30 miles a day without a single rest day between us and the end. So yeah, mathematically just about still possibly. Physically, no. I mean, we didn't hike like that. We were exhausted already at Cascade Locks. We took an extra day off at Cascade Locks. We then took a day off in Trout Lake. Yeah, that was to
Dry out.
To dry out, but we were running very, very low on energy already, and we were still pushing miles and stuff, but we never got anywhere close to 25, never mind 30. I mean, not even in Oregon. We were completely, I mean, something in our head just went from, this is the reality of hiking, to, this is how I would like the reality of hiking to be, and we just made that switch over without even realizing. We made a ton of dumb decisions in Cascade Locks.
To get our stuff back, I think it nearly cost us $1,000.
Yeah.
Hikers.
This is for later. There'll be a video on it. I mean, we ended up, after deciding to quit here. Well, here obviously. I'm not kidding you. We're at home in the UK at this moment in time. But
Come on, the Blues.
But from the video point of view, here at White Pass, where we decided to quit, we still needed to get to Stehekin. And yeah, it cost us about £1,000 all in, dollars all in, I think, in the end. Just that extra week staying in the US to try and retrieve a parcel. I mean, it's insane. We also, in Cascade Locks, in order to lighten our gear, we threw out stuff that we kind of needed. I mean, you threw out your rain pants, and you're having just said about...
They had a little rip, but I repaired it with gaffer tape.
Yeah, and we were going to take them home, but then because he bought this poncho in REI, he just went, oh no, I don't need them now. And as we just said, you know, that wet legs are an issue, and if you've got nothing but a poncho, wet legs will remain an issue. And there was nothing wrong with those rain pants. They were perfectly good rain pants apart from that tiny repaired rip. Yeah. We made just so many bizarre decisions. And you know, the very fact that we actually went while at Cascade Locks to REI and bought, what was it, nearly 700 quid's worth of gear, new boots, new tent, new backpack, blah-de-blah, when we had not a snowball's chance in hell of finishing the PCT. We could have just...
Thanks, Mike.
Yes, thank you very much, Mike, for taking us to REI. But we should have realistically, we should have just called it quits in Cascade Locks and said, look, we can't do Washington. What's the point of doing 100 miles of Washington if it's going to cost us $700 in extra gear? You know, but it just, no, you do, and we thought we weren't going to fall into the tunnel vision end of hike trap, because it wasn't like we were going to complete the PCT. We'd already skipped 300 and something miles in the Sierra, so we shouldn't have been so focused on reaching the terminus, because it wasn't like we were going to complete a through hike. I can understand that. If you've done everything up to that point and all that's standing between you and actually completing a through hike is...
It's not beer, it's coffee.
But we weren't in that position. We should not have gotten into that headspace. We'll be doing a little roundup of, you know, what we've learned.
Yeah, how much we spent.
Well, what we spent.
Oh, yeah.
But,
and that was quite shocking, actually. How much we actually spent a day.
So this,
we've worked that out now.
This is the final PCT spend now. In this last week and a half, we spent $347.46 on resuppliers. So this is technically actually for another week at least, because we did end up with food parcels up at Snoqualmie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Less said about it. So that post is very high because it should have covered at least another week and a half. But there you go. We spent $283.61 on town food. This is both Cascade Locks and Trout Lake, obviously, are in there. We spent $670.83 on gear. This is the gear that we did not need to buy had we just admitted defeat at Cascade Locks. We spent $380.20 at accommodation because when we were at Cascade Locks, we felt like we deserved a treat, and we stayed in the hotel for 2 nights instead of a perfectly okay campsite in Cascade Locks. It's just, again, this is what I mean with you get into a headspace where you think, I've been out here so long now, I'm exhausted, I need a little bit of
and we were thinking Cascade Locks would be the last place where we
would have any kind of accommodation of that sort.
Because the rest of Washington, the places that we would be stopping, are way above our budget.
Yeah, so
and we would
have tented all the way through Washington. We spent $4.25 on laundry, $46.25 on postage. So that was mainly. Oh yeah, that was picking. We sent our bear canisters.
Yeah, to a friend.
Yeah, to Kaiba and Bright Angels. Thank you guys. They are going to sit on them until we return to do the Sierra portion of the PCT. They're down in San Francisco, so our bear canisters stay in the UK, in the US while we're back in the UK. And
we missed you.
Yes. And then we spent $2.50 on ATM because, you know, nothing's ever free, especially not money. Which means that in this last week and a half we spent $1,735.10, which brings...
This is amazing. I was shocked when Heidi told me.
Our total spend for the PCT was $11,464.44. This works out at just under $1,000 per month per person, which is actually kind of where it should be, despite our ridiculous gear costs. I mean, we ended up, I'm looking at, this is the total. We spent on this PCT
German Turkey makes a lot of this.
$3,332.50 on gear, and that is after we had actually tested for nearly 500 miles worth of hiking all our gear. People say keep, you know, at least $1,000 somewhere for gear because stuff happens, and we thought we'd be above that, so to speak, you know, because we tested our gear, we know what we're doing. Oh no, everything that could possibly break broke. But anyway, so yeah, $11,464.44, which works out at $66.65 per day
for both of us.
For both of us. So that means per person we spent
$33,
around $34 a day, every day on the PCT.
And that's quite a lot.
If you want to do a hike like this at that level of comfort, which isn't a very high level of comfort, but it's not, you know, slumming
a lot of times, well, a lot of times we were in RV parks when we went into town.
Yeah.
And the problem is, you go into town and you'll do all your shopping, all your stuff in one day, and you haven't rested.
Yeah.
So we would have another day to rest.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it is what it is. $34 a day.
Don't get me wrong, we do it tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If we had $34 a day again, we'd be off, we'd be back, we'd be trying it again.
But we don't.
I mean, going forward, the plan is to
pay the fees off.
Pay our fees off. Well, that'll keep us busy until 2090. No, the more immediate plan is to hopefully come back
next year
to pick up what's left of the PCT.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, now that we have both a section in Washington and in the Sierra, it's going to be a logistic nightmare. We had hoped to just have one section left over, but, you know, we'll see. So we might not be able to mop it up in one trip. We might have to take two, just because we don't know how much sustained time we can take off again.
And as we just said, we've got to start paying the debts off.
Just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody who stuck with us all this time.
Yeah.
Especially through this prolonged rant just now. If you're still here, hello! Wake up! It's nearly over. But yeah, no, it's been absolutely lovely having you guys.
Well, we love the comments.
Yeah, comment and
we did it for you guys. No, that's the second time I've said that. No, and it was really good for the people saying, "Oh, it's that bug, it's that."
Oh gosh, yeah. Thank you so much for all the flora and fauna identification and the weather updates and as I say, I mean, it's just really
And people mentioning my hair.
wonderful. And people mentioning his hair.
Have a nice day.
But that is for another video.
Yes.